Welcome to Geek Salad, the podcast for the gaming universe. I am Jay LaRock, and we are powered by Obsolete Gamer and the Mascot Studios Podcast Network. You can find our podcast on Himalaya, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else podcasts are found. Now, we're all gamers here, and we had a lot of experience not only playing games, but also working in the gaming industry. And one of the things that I like to focus on is reaching out to people all over the world who are working on their own games. And that is what we're focusing on today with the game that will be coming out in the first quarter of 2021 called Luciform. This is considered a hardcore platformer. So for those of you who think that you have those old school Mario Brothers Sonic platforming skills, or liked other games such as Super Meat Boy and Celeste, then this is a game for you. So we sat down with Noam Matan Rotem, founder of Chaos Minds. His company's out of Israel, and I don't know about you, but I don't know anything about the Israel gaming scene. So that was our first question. What is it like being a gamer in Israel?
Oh, there's almost no gaming scene here.
Oh,
There's a lot of misconceptions about Israel in general. We don't ride on camels like a lot of people think. We are actually a very high-techy place. But the gaming scenes, we got a lot of gamers, but not a lot of game developers. I think I know like 4 studios. It's a tiny country. Um, but yeah, we got a lot of people that love games, making games. Sadly, I've met little to none. Most people here opt to go on like high-tech adventure and creating software uh, rather than games, which is fine, but it's just not something that I'm up for. I mean, I love it. I love creating games. It's a passion for me. So
now I know with COVID and stuff, things might be different, but is it more like, as far as gaming, is it more people playing console just games at home? Is there an arcade scene, or is it more like mobile gaming, or is it like a mix of all?
I mean, it depends on the person. I know a lot of people enjoy console gamings, and I'm gonna try to get my games on as many consoles as I can because I know there's a lot of audience there. I actually create my games with always I'm trying to have as much support both to people gamers with disabilities like color blindness. I have a lot of options for that because the game actually relies on color if you want to play it. And if you like to play with your controller, you can play with the controller. It goes either way. If you want the keyboard or the controller, you can play with both.
Oh, very cool. And I saw in the press release that says that, you've always loved video games and played games. What were some of the games that inspired you growing up?
Oh, I guess when I started game development, it was like just silly mods and scripts that I made for like Minecraft or GTA or like some of the old stuff that I played with my friends. So I just wanted to create something uh, cool to play around with my friends, and then I just dove into scripting. And from there, I was like, okay, I want to create some mods, and then I started learning Java. And then I was like, okay, I need to create something of my own because this is I don't want to sound like over my head, but it's kind of like playing God, and it's amazing the feeling that you can create anything from lines of codes. So
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, anything where you're able to create something, especially something that you cared about, and especially the mod community. I mean, I love going and finding mods. I mean, Skyrim was completely transformed for me because of the mod community, as well as like Fallout New Vegas and games like that. Um, I mean, man, just being able to put together mods that can enhance an existing game in itself is pretty awesome.
I agree 100%.
And then how was it? What was the process of starting, your own game creation? Is it a matter of just like you said, learning and then programming? And then what was the next step? Did you have to like submit to a comp? Did you create your own company, or what was the next step after that?
Yeah, so the process is a bit different in Israel because I had to take a 3 years vacation. It wasn't a vacation, it was my military service. So when I wanted to start the company, I had to go to the military to do my service. It's mandatory in Israel. So while I was there, I planned out everything in my head until I was you start your service at 18. So until that age, I just made small projects, learning the basic, the coding, everything that I could, and then I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna do my service, and then when I'm out, I'm gonna start building my games, my company. Usually people, when they finish their service, they travel around the world. It was before COVID, so they travel around the world, and they use the money that they get from the military to have some fun, have some adventures. But I used everything that I got from the military to create my first game. It was Forgiveness, the game before this one, and I actually got the idea while I was in the army.
Wow, very cool. And so about Luciform itself, I was looking at the trailer and I like the artwork and the colors and things like that. What was the inspiration for that type of color scheme and artwork?
It's actually based on my first game ever, which is it's kind of like if you look at it now, it's kind of weird because it was my first game ever, and I published it to the Android App Store at like 2015. Um, I made it with my teacher, my computer science teacher in high school. Um, so this game is called Science Cloud. You can see that the picture of my Skype is the character in that game, the
Ah,
profile
cool.
picture. Yeah. So in 2015, I made this exact game, Luciform. Only it wasn't great, but it was the same idea. Now years later, when I have the experience and the ability to create a real game, better game with actual game design and everything, I just made like a reboot of that, like a version 2, a better version to actually get that idea properly across to the players, the color based game.
And overall, can you just give us a description of like the gameplay?
Oh, okay. It's fairly simple. You play as Lucy. Um, you always move. You're always on the move. Lucy needs to save the mythical creatures that the red eye gorilla captured, and that's why he's always in a rush. You are always moving. That means that you can't stop. You control his jumps and the ability to change colors. And if you hit on something that is the same colors as Lucy, you can interact with it. That means the platforms or spikes. Later on in the game, you have colored spikes. So if you touch them with the same color, you die, but you can go through them if you choose a different color. So it's all based around colors. The same color that you have, you can interact with, and the color that you don't interact with is the colors that you don't currently have on your player.
And that's dynamic because I know that it's stated in the press release about it being a hardcore platformer,
Yeah,
and I know
it's
that a lot of gamers, especially if they played old school games, they love hearing that because a lot of games nowadays are far too easy. But this takes a lot of quick thinking and quick movement.
yeah, it builds around it fairly quickly. The first 10 levels, you're like, okay, I can do this. This is pretty simple, and then things get really complicated over time. Again, I loved Super Meat Boy and Celeste. This is like my top two platformer games, and I think combining the difficulty with the color switching, it makes something really special that I hope a lot of people um, can enjoy.
And as far as the Red Eye Gorilla as the antagonist, how'd you come up with that one?
Oh, I think that I needed something that can be very clearly seen as a villain when it's on a silhouette, because the game art style is kind of I would call it unique. It's not like a 3D amazing ultra realistic, but it has its charm, and I think that the gorilla works really well with a silhouette. And when you have this red eye gorilla that basically you are in a forest, and I need this strong creatures that actually capture these tiny mythical creatures and basically collect them like some sort of trophies. And I think the gorilla is something that when I think of the king of the forest, the king of the jungle, I think of a gorilla right away. So this is why I chose him.
Yeah, and in the end of the trailer, he is kind of menacing, sitting there on top of the tree, and all you see is, like you said, the black silhouette and the red eyes, and then you see the cages with all the other little animals inside. That's really cool.
I'm glad you liked it.
So we can pick this up on Steam sometime coming next year, right?
Yes, Q1 on 2021, and hopefully later on I can get it onto consoles. Hopefully. I don't know when. Hopefully.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely be looking out for that. But thanks very much for coming on and talking to us about your game.
Thank you for having me.
Now, for those of you who are listening to the podcast, you can get a look at the game trailer on our YouTube channel at ObsoleteGamer.com. And also, we'll be doing a review once the game comes out in the first quarter of 2021. Support indie gaming, one of our many mottos here at Geek Salad. We'll be back soon with another episode. Until then, thanks for listening.